Right then, to get the higher marks for the form design, you have to have evidence of features that make it quicker to enter data in a form. Now, as you can see from the screen, I have created a form, and there only appears to be one feature in here that makes it quicker to enter data, and I guess that is the add record macro button. I don't have any drop-down boxes or check boxes that make it quicker to enter data. And what's more, if I press the tab key, you can see that actually if I'm moving to each field, they're all higgledy-piggledy and not going in the correct order. So I've got a number of things that I need to improve here, and I'm going to show you in this video how it's done. Well, the first thing we need to do is we need to go to View and Design View, and then simply delete the fields that aren't in the form that we want. Now I'm going to change this field, so I'm going to create a drop-down box instead of a text box. So I press delete. And then in the paid field, I'm going to delete this too, because although it's yes and no, I'm going to make a checkbox where I can just simply tick in the little box that says yes and leave it blank if it's no. So I'm going to press delete. There we go. So I'm now going to save this, and I'm going to close my form because I need to go back to my table. So let's click on my customers table. Here are my customers, and if I click on title, you can see it's as a text box, and I don't have a drop down. So I go to View and Design View, select title where the data type is, click on the down arrow, select Lookup Wizard, choose to type the values in that you want, click Next, and then underneath type in the values. So Mr., Mrs., Miss, Ms, and Doctor. Now, if you've set a validation rule for this field, just be careful that you include all the values that you have put in your validation rule. So for example, if you include an OR rule, make sure all of those are covered. Click Next. I'm going to select Limit to List, which means that you can only choose from those lists, and I'm going to select Finish. So that's me now changed my title field. So I'm going to close this like that and save the changes. I'm now going to go to my sales field because that's where my paid feature is, yes and no. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change that field by going to the design view and change it from a text field to yes no. So when I change it to yes no, although I've still got yeses and nos, it becomes a slightly different data type. So if I just save this and save yes and go to view it, you can see it's now changed into a very different feature, and these are checkboxes. Tick means yes, blank means no. If yours hasn't changed to that, then what you want to do is click on lookup and select checkbox instead of text box. So I've now made the two changes to my table. So I can now go and add those fields in again to my form. So I'm going to close my sales table, open my forms table, and go into the design view. And if I click on add existing fields, I can see my fields that are here. And this time if I drag in title like this, you can see it now has a drop down box. The only problem is it's not in the right layout as before. So here's a quick tip. Click on the style of the label that you want it to become. Go to Format, click on the little paintbrush, and click on the label. And whilst that doesn't change the width, it does put it into the correct format. So I can just simply move this to here. Actually move it down to where it was. I can drag this over like this and make it that size. I can move this title over here like this and move it to there. Now the only thing I need to do for my title is I need to match the font, which is Calibri 14. So click on title, click on 14, and I think it's also black. So there we go. If I go to home and to view, you can see I now have a drop down box. So what about paid? Well, let's go to view and to design view, and I'm going to drag in paid like this, and you'll notice that this looks very different indeed. So I've got my label, and in place of the words yes and no, I've got a tick box. So do the same again. click on the field with the styles you want to change, click on paid. I'm going to move this over to here. Click on that second square and move the checkbox to the middle. Drag this to here, like that. And let's go and have a view of it. So click on Home and View. And there you go, John Smith has paid. If I just simply go through them, you'll see that, there we go, that person has not paid. And if I want to click on Add a Record, it's much quicker to select from that field. So those are the two changes that you can make to make it quicker to enter data. But what about, if I press Tab, the problems where it's not in order? Well, let's solve this problem by going to View and going to Design View. And over here, next to existing field, there's something called Tab Order. And if I click on it and move it to this side, it shows you the order of the fields when you press the Tab key. So it goes Sales, Product, Add Record, Customer. You can see they're wrong. So what you do is you simply highlight by clicking where the arrow is, the field that you want to move, then move to it, press down and drag it up. And now the order is there. And you're going to match the order to this. So I need to go and click on Title, drag that up to Customer, click on Add Record, because that's the button, put that down at the bottom. And that, I think, looks correct. Let's click OK. Let's go to our view and let's see if it works. Tab, 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 tab. And there we go. Probably need to make these buttons a little bit wider, but hopefully you get the general idea of how to add in the different features to make it easier to enter data into your report. No, not your report, your form. Done.